Welcome to Diversity Matters. This program is designed to highlight the diversity-related activities throughout New Hanover County schools and the greater Wilmington region. I'm Valita Quattlebaum, Chief Communications Officer for New Hanover County Schools. On this edition of Diversity Matters, we'll be learning all about the New Hanover County Council of PTAs. Joining me in the studio will be the council's current president, Mrs. Linda Fox, and middle school principal, Mr. Wade Smith. We'll be discussing how the PTA Council helps to serve parents, schools, and the community, and how these important relationships ultimately serve our students. So, don't go away. This edition of Diversity Matters will get started right after this short break.
Today, about 1 in 5 Americans is living with a disability. Over 50 million people, including many of our friends and neighbors, teachers and co-workers, heroes and leaders. 20 years ago, the Americans with Disabilities Act guaranteed every person the right to live, work, and participate fully in the American experience. We've come a long way since then, and we are committed to making even more progress in the years ahead. Visit disability.gov to see how you can help.
Welcome back to Diversity Matters. This month we're learning all about the New Hanover County Council of PTAs. Joining me today is Linda Fox, the current president of the council. She and I will be discussing the main goals of the PTA Council along with what the council is doing to recruit parents. So welcome to the show, Linda.
Thank you.
So it's fascinating here in New Hanover County Schools that we have a PTA Council. I think that is one of the things that makes us a great school district. Do all districts have a PTA Council?
No, they do not. In fact, most of the districts in North Carolina do not have one. So yes, we are very fortunate.
That's wonderful. I did not know that. How many PTA councils are there? Do you know?
I think there's about 5 in the state of North Carolina.
Wow, and there are dozens and dozens of school districts.
Yes.
So that's very fortunate for us. So what are your main goals this year for the council?
As a council, it is our job to help support the local units, so all the PTAs that you see in the school systems. We serve as a liaison between the local unit and the state PTA, and our job is to increase communication between the district and the school levels and between state and local units, and we're also trying to work smarter and not harder. And by doing so, we'll be joining with community partners and trying to make a difference for our children.
Okay, partnerships. I'm very excited about that because my department does a little bit with partnerships too. Tell me what the council is doing in terms of getting partners for our schools.
Not only do we appreciate the financial donations given to us by our community partners, but also having a presence in the school. So you can come into the school and volunteer. You can provide other resources where back to school supplies, just support. The students enjoy seeing people besides their parents and besides their staff administrators that they see all the time because it encourages the need for a strong academic support.
That's exciting because what I want to do is bring partners in to help our kids get internships, job shadowing, and even summer jobs. So I think together we can make some headway with that. So that's great. So also tell us about your upcoming parent forum.
Well, we have a
And what's that about?
We have a parent forum coming up the first week of February, and it's going to talk about Lock It Up, which talks about prescription medicine abuse and how you need to lock up your prescription pills. It's going to talk about underage drinking and give parents the tools they need to open those lines of communication with their children. And, you know, parents want what's best for their kids, but sometimes they don't always know how to start the conversation. So hopefully in February we're going to give you some tips that you can use to start that conversation with your kids, because the number one reason that students do not choose to drink underage is because their parents don't want them to. So we need to be the voice inside of our children's heads when they're in a peer pressured situation. We need to be the voice that says, make a better choice. And so we're going to show some ways that you can do that.
And do you have a date for that parent forum?
It's February 7th and February 8th. We're going to have a morning session and an evening session.
And where will it be?
The evening session is pending. We do not have a location yet, but our morning session will be at the Board of Education building on 13th Street.
Okay, awesome. So any parent who needs help with any kind of substance abuse or suspected substance abuse, or just how to have a conversation about it, that's a good place for them to come.
I think any parent needs to be
Any
there
parent
because
needs to be
you
there,
think
right.
that your child will not be the one who does it.
Right.
You need to be prepared because this starts in middle school, and we need to be prepared as parents.
And who will be there? Will there be experts? Will it be workshops? Tell us how it will be set up.
We're still working on the logistics. We're
Okay.
hoping to have some mock party situations and scenarios to actually do a very real how do you avoid this situation. But the Coastal Horizon Center is one of our community partners, and they will be there with speakers, experts in the field that can give
They
us
are a great
statistics.
organization. I know they do great work. That sounds really exciting. So we need to help you get the word out about that.
Yes.
So one of the issues that we've always had is that we have parents who are very, very concerned, of course, about their kids, but they work full time, or they have to work 2 jobs to make ends meet. They might be a single parent or whatever the situation, and so they don't have the opportunity to be involved in the PTAs. What can those parents do to be involved or to help support the PTA or their school?
The most important thing that a parent can do is purchase a PTA membership. When you purchase a membership, you are not required to be at the school all the time. You don't even have to show up if you are unable to show up. But that membership gives you a voice. And the stronger our voice is, the more legislation we can change that will support public school funding, support teacher salaries, pre-K initiatives, driver's ed funding. We have representatives at your local school level with PTA, at a district level here as the council, on a state level and a national level. And when our national representative goes before Congress, we like for them to say, we represent over 4 million voices. So purchasing your PTA membership will be one of those 4 million voices. And the stronger our number is, the louder our voice is.
And approximately how much is a PTA membership?
It depends on the school. State and national have their dues, which is $4 collectively, and then whatever the school decides. Most memberships run between $6 and $10.
$6 and $10, so that's very, very affordable.
Yes.
And in return, you get this advocacy for public education and for our schools.
That's correct.
So that sounds like a good deal. Okay, so we are going to take a quick break, and when we return, Linda will give advice to parents who want to be more involved in their children's education, but also need more information on how they can best support their child and their school. Welcome back to Diversity Matters. I'm sitting here today with PTA County Council President Linda Fox. We've been discussing ways the PTA Council supports parents, schools, and our students. So Linda, what about the parent? I want to talk some more about parents who are not able to be active for whatever reason. How can they still work with their PTA to support their school?
Well, There are several things to take in consideration whenever parents are involved. It's more than race or socioeconomic factors or religion biases. Sometimes we have stay-at-home parents and working outside the home parents, and those working parents work all different shifts. So a typical 8 to 5 job may not be in the cards for some of those parents. So there's different ways that you can get creative with the way you volunteer within the school system. One way might be sitting in front of the television cutting box tops at night whenever you're not at work. If you can't be in the school, that's something you can do. You can volunteer at school stores, school events that are not in your regular school hours. You can so class teams donate items for different events, whether it's water bottles or napkins for a party.
Right.
So it can be creative, and sometimes teachers have workbooks that need pages torn out of them, and it just takes time to do it. A parent can volunteer to take those workbooks home at night, pull those pages out for them, and have them ready for their child's class.
Okay. And what if I'm a parent but my school doesn't have a PTA? Can I still work with your organization?
Yes, you can. We do accept members at large.
Okay.
You can go to any school that has a PTA to purchase a membership, or you can even go online to ncpta.org to buy a membership.
All right. So if a parent really wants to be involved, there are ways.
Yes, sir.
All right. And we know that it's so important for parents to be involved in all grade levels. So tell us why, though. Tell us why, because I want parents to hear that it's important at every school. Why?
Well, you know, it's a common misconception. We have a lot of active elementary school parents who in middle school think that they're not needed as much. And the opposite is true. We need parents in the middle and the high school level too. And the reasons for all levels is because it increases test scores. It increases attendance in the schools. It decreases behavioral issues, decreases drug and alcohol use, and it encourages the children that there is someone that's interested in them and knows the importance of education.
Now I can imagine some of the pushback parents probably get from kids, you know, when they get in the middle school age and they're kind of snarky and they're like, Mom, I don't want you around, that kind of thing. And so I'm sure that may play into it.
I'm sure. My son is in middle school and they had a fall festival last year. He told me that he was not going to speak to me. He did not want me there. I showed up anyways, and all of his friends were hanging out with me. And even he came up there saying, well, why aren't you talking to me, Mom? So they do appreciate us seeing us there, even when they say otherwise.
Right, they do. I think they like to test you and see. So we should push back from that too.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. That's a great story. And so parenting has changed. I guess parenting is one of those things that is always the same, but yet it's changed. Can you tell us how it has changed now?
Well, the most obvious answer is technology.
Okay.
You know, back in the day,
right,
we had landlines, and so our parents knew who we were talking to on the phone, and the line was busy if we were on the phone too long.
I remember. Do you remember those long phone cords?
You'd have
where you could go all over the house, right?
So now most of our kids have cell phones. So who are they talking to? What kind of text messages do they have? When you were invited to a party before, you may or may not have known that you were not invited to a party. But now you see it all over social media. So you have the cyberbullying and the feeling of left out. You have kids playing video games with complete strangers, and you have to be able to talk to them about these are not your real friends. You don't know who this person is.
That can be so scary.
Yes.
So how do you deal with that?
You need to be aware of what the dangers are. And then, you know, when our children are little, we talk to them about stranger danger. Don't take candy from strangers. But do we talk to our teenagers about don't stop and help a stranger on the street who needs help with Snapchat? You know, we need to teach those, use the same lessons, but change the example.
Exactly.
To keep our kids safe.
Because parenting is parenting. So when you have the good relationship with your child all the time, it shouldn't change when they get on that computer, right? They have to have rules, and they have to know what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do.
And if there are questions about how can I as a parent, you know, you feel overwhelmed, it's almost impossible to cover every social media site that your child is on.
Right.
But you can visit commonmediasense.org, and they give some excellent tips to parents about how you can stay on top of what your child is doing on the internet.
Right. And don't you think also to keep the conversation going, the dialogue, so that you can, you notice when your child is changing or they're acting differently? That seems to be a real important thing too.
And one of the biggest things, even for parents, when your child walks in the room, put your phone down.
Oh, say that again. Say,
Put your
don't
phone
sit there
down.
playing with the cell
Yes.
phone. Right.
And even with the little things that my child plays this video game, I know nothing about it, but when he walks in the room and tells me about this video game, I put my phone down and I listen to him, because
Right.
if he's going to tell me about a video game, then he's going to tell me about something else that's happening at school and something that he's feeling personally that he needs help with. And so we need to listen, and we need to put that as much energy into our children as they need us to.
Right. That's such a great answer. So we in New Hanover County Schools go out of our way to try to communicate with parents. I am responsible for communication on the district level, but I'm not responsible on the school level. That's where the principals and the staffs come in. So in terms of communication, let's talk about school to parent communication. What do parents want from our schools?
I think overall parents want constant communication.
Constant.
And they want to know what's going on. Not only, say if you have an event on October 31st, you need to let your parents know about that event well in advance of that, and then send them a reminder that week, because parents need to adjust their school work schedules so they can be present to volunteer, or maybe they need to budget the money so their child could pay for something that's going on with that event. So advanced communication and then reminders. The Connect 5 calls are vital to keep parents informed, especially middle and high school, because those students do not like to bring little slips of paper home to their parents.
Right. Okay, so we have to take a break. That's an important point, though, about what you all want and how important that is to the parents. I think sometimes we forget that picture day is something routine in the schools, but it means the whole world to the parents. So that's important, and we are going to work on that. So, but right now we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we will hear from a principal's perspective on the importance of an active PTA and communication and lots more. So don't go away.
Michael Adams?
Here.
Michael Adams?
Here.
Michael Adams.
Michael Adams.
Students who miss 18 days of school in any grade risk falling behind and not graduating. Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today.
Welcome back to the final segment of this edition of Diversity Matters. Joining us now is Mr. Wade Smith, who is our principal at Noble Middle School. And Mr. Smith is here with us to share a principal's perspective on the importance of an active and strong PTA and school communications. Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Belita. It's good to be here.
Thanks for being here. I know parents always want to hear from the principal, and you are our senior principal in terms of middle school, so we're glad you're here. So in general, what are the principal's goals in terms of communicating with parents?
Well, we want our parents to always feel like they are included in everything that's going on, that we have a real partnership going on between our teachers, our students, and our families. It goes well beyond just keeping parents informed, but we want the parents to feel like that they've got a voice, that we hear what they're saying to us in terms of things that may be going on with their children. We certainly try to utilize all of the means of communication that we have in terms of making them aware of events going on, whether it's picture day or whether we've got fundraiser going on, or whether there's an event that's occurred at school or an incident that's occurred at school. And we've got many, many ways of doing that through social media and the Connect 5 calls and those sorts of things. But we also there are times when the parents, we need to have some real face-to-face dialogue with them about something that may be going on with their child specifically.
Okay. So we know sometimes it breaks down, though.
Sometimes.
And what happens?
Well, I think when I always understand when a parent gets passionate or sometimes upset or emotional about what's going on with their own child. But sometimes it's important that we can take a little time and catch our breath, right, and listen to what's being said and try to get all the perspectives that are out there about what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, being able to hear what your child comes home and tells you about what's going on in school.
Right, having that conversation.
Like but also saying, okay, it's important that I get this other perspective. And it's always a good idea for the parent to start with the teacher in those cases. And then we work our way up if need be.
Okay, yeah, so that was my next question. What do parents need to do to be more proactive? Because I heard you say that the schools are making every effort to communicate. Right?
Yeah, right. And certainly we're always looking to improve that for sure.
Right.
But we really want to keep them informed.
But that's a priority for the schools.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what do we need the parents to do in return?
Well, I mean, the parents, and as they move up, you guys talked a little earlier about the elementary school differences and the middle school differences. Mm-hmm. In elementary school, the folders are coming home every day with things, and the middle school kids may not be as likely to bring that home. Mm-hmm. But the parents need to have dialogue with their children every night, or at least frequently, what's going on at school today. And then when something doesn't sound right,
because they'll say nothing, right?
Nothing's going on, or do you have any homework? No, I don't have any homework. Well, all of our teachers should have an updated web page where they have their assignments that are going on for that evening, what the schedule is for the tests that are going on, or coming up rather, and the presentations they may have used in class that day, how to contact the teacher, what's the best method for that. And if the teacher, kids are going to be kids, and they're not always going to bring the most accurate information home, pardon me, and they don't necessarily do that intentionally, but that's part of them growing up and becoming more independent. So if parents will take the time to explore. You never tell me you have any homework. Let's check that website and see what it says. And then, well, it says here you have these pages due that you're supposed to read, or you have this worksheet that's supposed to be done. Is it done? Well, it wouldn't hurt for you to show that to me. And then if there's something that doesn't seem right, let's reach out to that teacher and let's have that dialogue. And
I wanted to ask, what do parents do if that web page isn't up to date? Because some teachers, most are good, but some aren't good at that.
Well, I would start with the teacher. Said, I've went to your website, but it doesn't appear to be updated.
Okay.
And if you have that dialogue with the teacher and you don't see some results, I would encourage the parent to reach out to the administration at the school, because it's such a great tool. If an emergency arises or a child is sick, the parent can go, and the child themselves in many cases can go to that website and find out what they've missed without having to go through waiting for a phone call or an email to be responded to.
Right.
So I tell the teachers it's a proactive way to really make your job easier, so that the parents can reach out those who are looking to do so and get that information.
Right. So if the parent is that involved, then they won't be surprised at the end of the semester when they see the grade, right?
There really is. That's a really good question, because we've got the ability to not just look at the website, but we've got the ability to use the parent portal for PowerSchool for parents to go in and actually look into the grade book of the teachers and see how their child is doing. But we still, parents or teachers still should be making that contact with parents when they see if the grade slips a little bit. We need to make sure, because we can't always assume that a parent's schedule has allowed them to look into PowerSchool and see what's going on. So we need to do our part too and reach out to the parents in those situations.
Okay, that sounds really good. And it sounds like we have a lot of new tools now that parent can use to kind of really be involved.
Absolutely, and it's really a little ironic that we have to have conversations about good communication when we've got so many different ways of communicating.
Right.
And we say we want to keep the parents informed, but we don't want to bombard them with things.
That's the other side of it. We don't want to get to the point where parents, they hear us calling and they just hang up because they can't take it anymore.
That's right.
They're on overload.
So we trying to find a good balance is really what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, good, good. So why is the PTA program so important to the school community?
Well, I mean, I can tell you at our school it's just vital. These are go-to people in our school. They are able to, if we have a need, we can reach out to them and say we've got this, this teacher's new, this teacher's looking for some materials that it may be easier to obtain through the PTA. Sometimes it's the PTA can be really helpful to us when there's possibly some perception of something at a school that's not accurate.
Right.
And having good leadership within the PTA group allows us to have some dialogue, because sometimes people are closer with their neighbors and their close friends and so forth. But showing the support for the teachers and from the parental perspective, at our school, our PTA is great. They provide a luncheon once a month in appreciation for our teachers, and they look forward to it so much.
That's powerful.
Once
really
a month
is. They do
once
that.
a month, and that's something that I've worked with them on and asked it, because the teachers, it's just a little pick me up for them sometimes.
Not just Teacher Appreciation Month.
Not just Teacher Appreciation Month, and then we have. Sometimes they're able to offer some mini grants for us for teachers through if a PTA is in a position where they have a really strong budget. If they don't, then their presence in the school, with the coming out and helping in the car line, or coming out and helping sort things that need to be sorted. Or being there to help with running off papers, whatever it might be.
Right.
There are lots of different ways, and we appreciate it so much.
That's great. So quickly, I think we're running out of time, but can you both tell me something quickly, what you think we need to improve on, what we're doing well, and what can we do better?
Well, I would say in the district, one of the things that we're doing in this district, and I think I can say this without hesitation at every school, is that we're not trying to be status quo. We're trying to constantly get better.
Right.
And everybody is taking a look within themselves and their school and saying, we're just not going to rest on what we've accomplished so far, but we're still going to, whether it's an instructional need, or whether it's a particular population within our school who's struggling, or whether it's or the culture within the school. We're constantly working to try to improve those things. And I think that speaks well of the district and the leadership that we've had.
And I think with the budget cuts that are impending with North Carolina, that New Hanover County has a strong appreciation of the arts and music and sees the value of it in our education system. And so we have a lot of support from our senior staff whenever we have reflections events or band competitions, choral events.
Oh, great. You both have been so wonderful, and I know this is going to help so many parents, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we are out of time, and we are so grateful to our guests for joining us on this show today. Thank you for watching this edition of Diversity Matters. Feel free to call the New Hanover County Schools Public Relations Department at 254-4245 if you have any questions or you have a story idea for a future edition of Diversity Matters. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next month for an all-new edition of Diversity Matters.